this is our history out here. And many times we're not given the opportunities to experience that landscape and that history because of different barriers. But through this opportunity of being an indigenous or native guide, there's an opportunity there for that I saw to be able to bring in other individuals. Hello, my name is Lyle Bolinqua. I'm from the village of Baklavi on Third Mesa on Hopi. I'm a member of the Greasewood clan, and I've been working as a guide out here in the Bears Ears landscape for about 16 seasons. Before I got into guiding, my main work has been as an archaeologist. I have both a bachelor's and master's degrees in cultural anthropology from Northern Arizona University. And for over 2 decades now, I've been working as a field archaeologist across the Southwest. And in a way, it was really archaeology that led me to the work as a commercial guide. Through my work as an archaeologist, I've been able to combine two sets of knowledge. On one hand, I'm learning the Western scientific perspective of archaeology, and on the other hand, more importantly, I'm also able to learn about and also incorporate more of my Hopi cultural background. Through the work that I've done over the years, I've been very fortunate to learn and interact with traditional knowledge holders from my community. And so it's through those experiences that I've gained greater understanding of the Hopi history as it exists across the Southwest. So over the years, I've been able to see how the combination of these two sets of knowledge, I've seen how they can enhance not only the field of archaeology, they can enhance the experience that we can provide as guides. One thing that archaeology and guiding have in common, however, is a noticeable lack of the Indigenous participation and presence in the work we do. When I first started working in guiding, it was somewhat rare to work alongside another tribal member. However, over the years, there has been an increase in the number of Native guides, and there are pockets of us here and there, but we can still be few and far between. And so I've always had the dream, I guess, the desire to work with others from my community in the things that I do, both archaeology and guiding. I had started working with Crow Canyon almost 10 years ago, I think, doing the cultural explorations tour program. And I started to see how they were willing to, pursue some of these ideas that their Indigenous partners were bringing to them, ideas about how we can incorporate more of the Native perspective into the work we do. And so I wanted to change the environment in which, we were working in. And so I presented this idea to Crow Canyon, and that was my desire to not be the only Native on the guiding crew anymore, that I wanted to be able to bring others from my community out into this landscape. Also to start training others in how to be a guide, a Native guide. There's a lot of different considerations we have to take into, we have to consider those considerations about our cultural backgrounds and what are some of the boundaries and how do we interact with commercial guests or guests on a commercial trip that are largely non-Native. We're commercial guides in one sense. We're here to teach the outside public. The public education part is a big component of what we do. And so I wanted to be able to bring that experience back to our people, back to the descendant communities of these places that we're working in. But those are kind of the two main priority ones. One is to increase the diversity of the guiding pool that currently exists, but also to really the priority for me now is the cultural preservation aspect in terms of teaching our folks about their history so that they can then go back to our communities and encourage our own people to learn about these places. This is our opportunity now to be able to close the circle, so to speak, to bring it full circle and allow our own Indigenous people to experience their cultural history.
Hello, my name is Achi Lamahumba. I am Hopi and Navajo. My clan affiliations are Roadrunner Clan and Hopi, and on my Dene side is Eshehe Salt Clan. Right now, I am in Bears Ears National Monument at the base of the Bears Ears Buttes, and I'm here with Crow Canyon and a number of my Indigenous guides here to tell our perspectives on what it is to be an Indigenous guide, the problems we face, the solutions that we could come up with, and just our wishes of what it is to be like and what our future guiding is going to be.
I look forward to them because every time I go out, it's a good time for everybody to joke around, good time for someone to teach, good time to experience new places with different people. And when you get to go through something like that, it's pretty eye-opening, and it kind of pushes you to look forward to do more trips with them and maybe set up a few trips on your own, because once I did that week-long trip with Crow Canyon, when we went into King Gulch and Bullet Canyon, I went back to Bullet Canyon with my family, my mom, and then my two little brothers. I took them out, and they thought it was going to be maybe a 2 mile to a mile hike, and little did they know it turned out to be a 9.5 mile hike. And they were exhausted, their legs were hurting when we got back to the vehicle at the trailhead. But once we got back home, my baby brother, he said that was the best day ever. And he said, I want to learn more. I want to hear the stories now. And that, ignites that flame, inside my chest, because here, the next generation asking questions about who he comes from and the people he originates from. I want to learn more. That was the best day ever. Crow Canyon offers that chance to invite me out to different locations with different people. And later on, I could bring out my family and other people that I know to these different locations, educate them, and reteach them the people that they come from. So we keep our practices going. They're not dying out. We keep this skill alive in a way.
Being native guides, we have our own way of viewing things. Outsiders, they come and they see this old village as being just that. People lived here, they went, and it's there, it's staying. But when Indigenous native guides, we come back, we see stories written on and painted on the walls. We have offerings that we need to leave. We come to those sites with reverence and respect. And it's like you're revisiting, your grandma's, your grandpa's house. And what I take away mostly from these trips that I go on is always like, it's brought me closer to culture, because I learn how to speak in Hopi, I learn how to speak in Navajo, and also teaches me how to view it at a scientific and archaeological viewpoint too. So you have all these competing factors every time we go out guiding somewhere. So you learn all this knowledge, and I store it in my mind. I go back home, I tell it to my family members, and they always say, "Oh, you're so lucky, you're so lucky. Why do you go out to these places? You're kind of crazy." And I say, I really like just being outside, connecting back to these sites, because, it's who we originated from. I still want to keep that going, because it's something so beautiful. I don't want it to be lost. It also serves as inspiration for my art pieces too, because I can reflect on the art that they left behind, and I can somewhat incorporate the art from a long time ago into a more modern type aspect of it. Being a native guide, it's just a field work or an area of work that isn't, it's not normal, it's not traditional than um, what the American dream is. Now that is a lot of like sitting in a cubicle and being stationary. For me, being a native guide, you don't do that. You out and about with people, learning new things, learning about the language, the traditions, the animals, plants, the biodiversity. So you get a lot of cool information being taught to you when you're a guide. So that's why one of the reasons why I like doing this stuff. And it's just really fun to go out here. You meet new people, you meet new teachers, new mentors, and down the road you become a mentor yourself. Wait.
Hello, my name is Richie Sania. I'm from the village of Tewa out on the Hopi land, and my clan affiliation is tobacco. I'm currently a student at the University of Arizona studying anthropology and minoring in American Indian Studies. I've only done one trip so far, but so far my experience with it has been really eye-opening in a way that I can engage with other people, not from my own similar background, from different backgrounds, but we all have the same experience, and we all enjoy being outside. We all enjoy seeing like ancestral sites or the landscape, or even just the animals or birds. We all draw joy from those experiences. Growing up, like I remember taking school trips to some sites like within Flagstaff area, like Walnut Canyon or Wapaki, maybe the Grand Canyon. But we always talked about places like Chaco, Mesa Verde, and we nobody's probably never really seen them within my own family. We always talked about it and seen it on videos or pictures and stuff, but nobody's actually been to these places. Coming from an anthropological and archaeological perspective, it helps me make connections between my own culture and my own experiences living on Hopi Reservation and talking about these places. So making that connection physically, it does a lot more to me and makes me understand a lot of my own teachings. After my last trip, I took pictures and I was showing my mom, I was showing my mom's partner, who's actually Blair clan from Sapalavi, and he saw the bear petroglyphs at one site, and he was like, "Wow!" He was like so surprised about it, and experiences like that. It's just the older generation, my grandmother's generation, my mom, they never had like the economic opportunities to see these places, or didn't know how to get there or know where to stay. I make that a priority for myself to share what I see and um, share my experiences, because maybe they won't be able to get to see it within their lifetime. Our connection to the world is so instant now that people have access to all kinds of stuff across the world. And the first thing you said was be patient with the information I'm giving you. It's the Hopi way. We're not given all our own teachings instantly. It's not given to us that way. It takes a lifetime, maybe even longer than a lifetime, to learn just a small part of Hopi tradition and culture. And further down into your life, into your older ages, you finally clicks for you. You understand what they were trying to tell you. It takes a lifetime of reflecting on that information to finally understand what those songs, what those prayers, what your parents, your grandparents, your culture, community have been teaching you. We come to these places to heal, to set out our prayers for good things in our life. So for me, I think guiding is a way for me to get out on the landscape and find these little sites that I can connect back to my own culture. So I mean, that was one perspective. And the other part of it, now to me, I see myself getting into is more of a public education not only for non-Indigenous people, but for my own people too. I feel like I can put it on myself for my own community to learn about these areas and then educate my community about these places so that we can find reconnection. And I think that goes a long way for empowerment. For me, seeing these places and how people think these are ruins and they're old things that don't have any significance. But if you look at the architecture and passive ways of using solar heat, or they're really sophisticated. And if people can go to these sites and recognize that kind of stuff, we can empower ourselves to say we came from these areas, and we can draw strength again from our own cultural identity. Being able to visit these places and bring the information back to my community so we can empower ourselves to be strong-minded Pueblo people and find empowerment in our own cultures. Last summer, I was part of the Crow Canyon internship program. I was the American Indian Initiatives intern, and they kind of rolled into me kind of collaborating with Lyle and with Crow Canyon and having this opportunity to come out on this trip. I didn't know what it was going to give me, and that was the important part of that trip. I felt it was just the camaraderie around the participants and just being in these sites. It was like fully like immersive experience that like can be replicated. Just seeing some of the pictographs and petroglyphs on the walls, and they're showing symbolically like the clanships that are related to the contemporary Hopi people living on the Hopi mesas, and making those connections that, yeah, we were here and there's evidence here, right here. But actually being here and feeling what I feel, stop and listen to the nature, the wind through the trees, the birds chirping, whatever, insects chirping, is just like close your eyes and take it in. And I think that's the important part that I wanted to get across to participants too. It's not about just taking the pictures, but remember those feelings and of connection that are in these spaces as well.
Hi, my name is Nate Francis. I'm descending from the village, Tewa village from First Mesa. I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was born and raised in the Four Corners in New Mexico. My clan is Sa'atoa Tobacco Clan in Tewa. Just growing up in the Four Corners area, like I mentioned, it was our family time. My mom, my grandma, my uncles, and I would go exploring out into these areas, just remembering where we come from. And I fell in love with being around our ancestors a lot, and I wish that other people could enjoy the moments that I felt being out there and learning about the land and learning about our people. I was fortunate to grow up in my own village, but to me, these places are my village. When I need help, I return back to these places and I pray and I ask for guidance that they can give me as I continue forward on this journey. I know that all these trips that I've been on, they're not a coincidence, they're like a calling. I feel a part of me that needs to be there. Whatever, I just follow it and don't resist against it. And when you leave these places, it's like you leave a part of you. It leaves you emotional for a couple of days, just like the Grand Canyon. It's like I left a piece of me, but it's a good thing that I left a bit of my journey with them, and my prayers along the way to guide me, to help me understand these places in my own journey. After 2020 and being an Indigenous guide, going through that whole chaos that went on, during that time, it made me reflect on my career path as being a graphic designer for the last 20 plus years, and seeing all this chaos and how much mental health that was created within our own Indigenous community and worldwide with the whole pandemic. So this past spring, I went ahead and I started going back to school to start a new career in psychology, to combine it with the outdoor, make it into a new career of outdoor therapy. And my whole reasoning behind it is just to help heal a lot of people within our own Pueblo communities, Hopi community, and Indigenous community, to reconnect them to these spiritual places. A lot of families have, in Native Indigenous communities that have suffered multi-generational trauma, especially within Pueblo and Hopi, going back to the Pueblo Revolt and beyond. There's a lot of domestic violence. There's a lot of alcohol, substance abuse, opiates, suicide. And I want to help them. So being an Indigenous guide, I feel that it's important for me to reach out, and using my background in being a guide to help heal. And it was my way of healing as well, as my own family has suffered a lot of dysfunction. It's got to be now or never, or continue to repeat the pattern. So I would like to use our ancestral sites, as a place to heal. A lot of people, as Indigenous, we have our own unique way of healing. We need that spiritual connection to begin that healing, because a lot of it is that without that connection, we're not as whole. That these places are well alive. Our people are still here. The spirits are listening. In a way, you talk to them, leave your prayer and offering behind. They'll figure out a way to help you